You're listening to the Soulful Makers podcast. I'm your host, Jay Dean of Dean Street Creative. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, and I show creative entrepreneurs how to build businesses that stand out. So, want to jump straight into this. Decided to record this because I've been thinking about this over the last few days, and I figured, what's helping me may help you. So, I want to tell you all a little story about procrastination. And you know that there's a quote that comes to mind that says you miss 100% of the chances that you don't take. And I have been feeling that. I've been feeling that over the past few days. So here's the story. I have been following one of my favorite celebrities who shall remain nameless. I've been following her. Said I wasn't gonna tell y'all if it was a woman or a man, but whatever. I've been following her for a while, and I've been wanting to work with her, and I wanted to design her website. So I kept saying, okay, I'm going to reach out to her. And I actually did reach out to her. I reached out to her on her website, and no one ever got back to me, which, is understandable because she's a celebrity. Nobody is just sitting by their phone. Celebrities ain't just sitting by their phone waiting or sitting by their computer waiting for me to email. So that was understandable. So I said, okay, I'm going to ramp it up, and I'm going to create some work for them and send it over. And I just procrastinated, y'all. I never did it. I kept saying, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it turned into, okay, I'm going to do it once I'm finished with my other client project, or I'm going to do it once I'm finished with my project. And it just kept turning into all of these stories as to why I couldn't do it. And a couple of days ago, I finally said, let me just go and look at their website. And sure enough, I go to their website and somebody redesigned their website. And my heart just dropped into my stomach. I was so disappointed. I was really disappointed in myself because I felt like I knew that I procrastinated because of fear. I mean, there was really no other reason. And it was just this fear, I guess, that they would say no, which is really silly because it's like, okay, well, if they say no, then you just move on to the next person and that's it. And so, I'm sharing this because for some of you in entrepreneurship, there are going to be times when you have these really big ideas, and sometimes they seem bigger than you, or there will be people that you want to pitch your business to, or pitch your ideas to, and you get really, really excited about it, and then you start to freak out, and you start to make up all these stories as to why they will say no, instead of focusing on all of the reasons that they should say yes, right? And so if that is you, if you're listening to this and something that I'm saying is penetrating you, then this message is for you. It's not a coincidence that you're listening to this. And so I want to encourage you to move on that idea. Move on that idea, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter how afraid you may feel. Move on that idea, because if you don't, for sure, somebody else will, and then you'll be wishing that you had. And while, I always have this belief, I say this a lot, that nothing that is truly meant for you will pass you by, right? And while that is true, there's also a duality to that, that if something in your spirit calls to you, if something in your spirit is saying, hey, do this, do it. Do it, because there is a lesson either way. Either there is a success in, them saying yes and you getting that opportunity to work with them, or there is a beautiful lesson, whatever it may be, whether it's, you learning how to show up for yourself, you learning how to speak up and ask for what you want. But if you do nothing, then you miss that opportunity to either grow or to experience what it is that you desire to experience. And I think oftentimes we get that nudge to move on something. We get that nudge to speak up in our relationship and tell that person how much we love and care for them. We get that nudge to make that phone call, to send that email, to apply for that job. We get these nudges, right? And we ignore them, and then we come up with all of these excuses as to why we shouldn't, why we can't, why right now is not the time, why we're not good enough, why we need more experience, why we need a little bit more, whatever. Insert whatever excuse you want. Meanwhile, there's somebody who doesn't have the experience yet, and they're still choosing to show up. They're still choosing to speak up for themselves. They're still choosing to advocate for their dreams. They're still choosing to go after what it is that they desire to see manifested in their life. And so if this is you, if you are sitting on the fence, if you are wondering, should I reach out to that person? Should I send this email? Should I, fill in the blank? You absolutely should. And this is your sign. This is your sign. This is your invitation to make the phone call, to say what needs to be said, to go after what it is that you want, because you deserve it. You deserve it. And they can either say yes or no. And there's a blessing in either or. There's a lesson. There's a blessing. There's magic. You can't mess it up. You just can't mess it up. You can't mess it up, y'all.